I'm Varun Upadhyay, and welcome to CSR Live's Expert Talk. Today we have with us Ms. Pratima, Head of CSR in the Lenovo Foundation. So first of all, welcome, Pratima. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you, Varun, for having me on this call.
That's awesome. So before we start with the main questions. Before that, can for the whole team of CSR Live and for our audiences, can we have a brief introduction about you and the organization in general?
Sure. So I am part of Lenovo India, and I also look at Lenovo Foundation. Lenovo Foundation is Lenovo's philanthropy organization that is registered in the US. So I head the Asia Pacific CSR and philanthropy, working with Lenovo Foundation. And responsible for building strong partnerships across Asia Pacific's diverse markets and help increase employee engagement in line with the mission statement for Lenovo Foundation, and evaluate the impact of our charitable investments in Asia Pacific, underscoring Lenovo's global philanthropy and foundation's mission of smarter technology for all. My passion subjects are women empowerment, education, financial literacy, vocational training, and healthcare. And these have been areas that I have been working in the past. During my spare time, I work pro bono with the not-for-profit organizations. I help them support developing their communication strategies, building their proposals, and fundraising.
Absolutely, that's awesome. That's great, and I think we need people like you to be working for our country definitely, and for Asia, of course. So right now, as you mentioned that there are specific areas that people like to in CSR activities try to focus. So as of now, are there any recent ongoing projects or campaigns that are going from Lenovo's side?
Oh, there's a lot going on Lenovo's side. Yeah, Varun. So, if I was to look at our projects and its reach over the last 5 years, that is since CSR began in India, I'm talking about 2015 to 2019, then we have reached out to around 400,000 plus individuals through the various programs that we have around education, skilling, and even working with people with disability. But I'd like to start off by the point that is on top of everybody's mind these days, and that's on COVID-19. So since 2020, with COVID-19, in the first wave, we were able to reach out to around 12,500 individuals and families from across the country with food kits and masks for frontline workers. And this was in partnership with ActionAid and World Vision India. In the second wave, while we started with providing food kits to 2,500 family food kits, actually, to 2,500 families of frontline workers. We also ended up supporting healthcare in a large way in whatever manner we could. And that was through donation of medical equipment consisting of oxygen concentrators, invasive ventilators, and oximeters, all valued at around INR 5 crores. We worked with the state governments, reaching out to district hospitals as we were doing that. We also supported and we are supporting two makeshift COVID facilities which are being run in partnership with district hospitals in Doddaballapur in Karnataka, and there is another one that's upcoming in Palwal in Haryana, which will be, I think, ready to be dedicated to the communities by end of October. In terms of education, which is our key focus area, we focus on technology for the underserved and access to education, and specifically STEM. We've had around 210,000 students and 7,000 teachers across India that have benefited through our programs. Be it the program like Mekshala, which looks at capacity building of educators and also reaching out to school children, or through Smarter Ed, which was our groundbreaking program that initiated support from the civil society in wave 1 of COVID-19 to get educators, either retired teachers or teachers who wanted to extend their support to students who were reaching out for online tuitions, so to say. When we launched this in April last year, we had around 11,000 volunteer teachers and nearly 15,000 students who registered in the first 4 months. This kind of established itself as a model that can really look at using civil society to reach out to a situation that was not foreseen, and something that could really help students. We also have partnerships with TechnoServe India, which focuses on providing IT and ITES education for women and youth, both in Mumbai and Puducherry. Our Mumbai program works with young women on IT and ITES, while our Puducherry program focuses on youth from ITI colleges, where we provide them with on-job training at our Puducherry plant. We also have the Lenovo Motorola Skill Academy, which began by providing training to youth in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, in getting them engaged to consider STEM careers as an informed choice. We've also had programs that support people with disability skilling with Samarthanam. And during COVID, we also reached out to Cheshire Disability Trust, as also with Give India, for migrant workers skill training programs. Our strong NGO partners are with Mekshala, again, which I spoke to you about a little earlier, which is on professional building, capacity building of educators. And strangely, I consider it a moment of pride for Lenovo, because we were working in uh, educators, digital training, and capacity building much before COVID struck. We did not need a COVID to bring in the online education and technology to students and educators together. Our program works in Karnataka and Meghalaya, and we chose these two geographic locations, bearing in mind the fact that we wanted to work with the government in supporting districts that had aspirations to improve educational levels, and at the same time, geographical locations where we knew technology and connectivity would be an issue, which is the case in Meghalaya, where geographically it is not possible to take or difficult to take technology forward. Agastya International Foundation, we work in supporting STEM education with the use of mobile science labs in government schools. We have mobile science labs in Bangalore, Delhi, and Mumbai, and we've reached out to 10,000 children. Again, an element of foresight for Lenovo, because this is exactly what the NEP is now talking about, and the government is looking at gearing this up, or various state governments are looking at gearing this up. Like I spoke to you about TechnoServe, I've already mentioned that. We also work with Yuva Unstoppable, where we found that tablet learning and lending is a strong initiative that we can build in providing access, digital access to students who need online learning, especially in scenarios like this pandemic. So that's like the length and breadth of our programs. And if you don't stop me now, I will
No,
keep
no,
continuing on this, Varun.
no, because I can see that Lenovo has always been a step ahead of what's coming, and you guys have been focusing on more and more innovation rather than keeping aside the fact that now we are supposed to because of the COVID, and we are forced to. So that's wonderful. But while I was listening to your answer, there was only one question that I was thinking about: is why do such large corporations like Lenovo, and there are many such large corporations who indulge in philanthropic work, in terms of CSR or in any other social manner, is this how, first of all, how seriously does a big corporation take, because I can see the passion in you. Of course, you're there to make sure everything goes smoothly, but I just genuinely want to know, how seriously does large corporations take CSR or social work in general? Is there real meaning behind it, or is it something because there's a mandate right now, so you have to go for it?
I don't think it is the mandate, and that is why Lenovo goes for it. And I don't think that's something that all corporates do actually. Um, in India, CSR has not come because of the act. Indians were meant to be philanthropic. You would not have had the Tatas and the Birlas of this world today who are doing such great work in philanthropy, or you would not have had the Zoroastrian community that works in philanthropy. So I would not be. I mean, I would actually contest this to say it's not the CSR Act that actually brought the CSR or philanthropy in. Indian culture has had it for the longest time. But yes, the act brought in some amount of synergies, because any government that comes in requires that a process and synergization and complementing to see that they are able to reach out to the communities in which the corporates also operate, but it's also the governed by the government. So while this is on the CSR Act, and when I talk about Lenovo's philanthropy and CSR again has had as much history as the CSR Act. May not be that many years, but it's already always been there. Um, in terms of our mission statement, it is always about smarter technology for all. That's Lenovo's brand promise, and that's the mission and vision statement that we take forward in all our CSR and philanthropy activities. So while we talk about CSR projects, and these are the partnerships that I spoke to you about, Lenovo also believes strongly in social impact. And for that, I would probably take the example of the partnership that we had with Alcott, and that was on the business side, where they worked with the state government to provide laptops to young students. Um, I don't remember the number, but just give me a
That's all
second.
right.
I will take a look at it.
No, that's all right. I do get your point, and actually I agree with your point here that we Indians are made that way before the 2014 act. Actually, India was like we can even take immense pride in the fact that India was first to actually come up with the CSR mandate. But like we had that programmed in ourselves to actually go out and do some social impact way before that. Even like, and I'm not even talking a decade or something, like way before that. And I agree to you on that. But now coming to my next question, because as you said, Lenovo or other big corporation, let's keep it general here, are actually looking to make a social impact there, or as we can say that giving back to the society. But is CSR in some way beneficial to Lenovo or like corporations? Is there any way where CSR is actually other than the selfless part where you actually want to give back to the society for something that you have earned? Is there some way that CSR is also beneficial on the business side?
Yes, and I think if you look at the journey for, I know you said we should keep it generic, but
No,
I
no,
will
no.
use my,
Of course, no.
uh,
That's why I'm again and again saying, is it beneficial for Lenovo and Bigtop? Because if you want to take any other examples, feel free to. Like that. That's why I said.
So I will actually take the example of Lenovo's journey in CSR. So it began with CSR, it's moved to sustainability, it moved to social responsibility, and today we are on a trajectory which is known as ESG. And for us, ESG stands for environment, social impact, and governance. Now, the environment and governance pieces are something that are run totally by the business. So we have people who look towards environment around recycling, upcycling in our products, and that's run by the business. And the governance side, understanding the law of the land, working ethically and responsibly, not just in our products, but also in the way we deal with our customers and the way we deal with our employees. So that's the environment and the governance piece. The social impact piece, which is where I come in with my team, and we work around ensuring that we reach out to as many people as possible, providing them the opportunities of the use of technology in education and in skilling. And that is the reason why I think, because we knew that there was a rising demand for field technicians and skilled labor in the smartphone and computer repair market. Lenovo and Motorola came together around four years ago, set up the Lenovo Motorola Skill Academy, trying to target skilling in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, so that the young youth of this country were able to participate in the manufacturing space and be provided job opportunities. Um, that program actually looked at offering skill counseling, training, skill assessments, and even placements of candidates who finished their program. So I think that is one example in the way we've looked at social impact from the business side. So we realized that there was an opportunity, there is a need in building the trajectory towards skilling for the country, and that's where we as a responsible corporate were able to come in, develop a skilling program, and be able to take it forward. And
Absolutely.
then there are similar such examples. We looked at it from the education side as well,
Absolutely.
as
Absolutely.
I mentioned to you earlier.
Course. And that actually, I think that we have been seeing more and more proof of how actually a social impact can, change your market position as well. And this has been proved since a long time that, how you socially stand in the eyes of your consumers can actually affect your marketplace overall. So that is wonderful. So, I want to ask this question to you personally because, you have been in the field for so long. We want to know which till now till date has been the most challenging project for you to execute for you personally, because you have been in this field for so long, and I am pretty sure you have overseen so many, as you mentioned in our previous questions and answers. Which has been the most challenging for you, or the most interesting one that you would want to share?
Yeah, I would take challenging as more as interesting, so to say.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
think, and I think with COVID, all our NGO partners had to revisit and redesign their programs, right? And this was something that all charity partners and NGOs would have faced. And one such particular program that I can think of was our skilling program in the north. We were working with Medha, where we were looking at setting up learning digital centers in colleges at Kurukshetra, Faizabad, and Patna. The partner was to set up the learning centers for youth in the colleges, but in the very first wave, colleges shut down. We were in the midst of the blueprint of what a learning center would look like, and the very next day was the announcement to say that India was going into a lockdown. And for the first 4 to 5 months, we were struggling to find a solution. And I think consciously as a team, we took a decision that we checked on the wellness of our charity partners, but we took a decision that we would not go and check with them on their projects, because we knew each one of them was looking internally, analyzing, and trying to understand how they would move forward. And Medha had this very difficult situation, because colleges shut means they couldn't set up the centers. So what were they going to do with the funds and the devices that they had? 6 months later, the organization came back to us and said, we could work out a different format. We have these students who are midway through their programs and needed support in um, internships. So could we look at the devices that you are giving at the centers as labs, sorry, be utilized for internships for these students, because that way they could still sit at home and gain experience. So we worked with the organization in developing a loaning model. So every student who underwent a 3 month to a 5 month internship was loaned a device. They would finish their internship, get a work certificate, and give the device back, so that it went on to the next student who was ready for internships. And as of July this year, we've had around 226 internships that have been completed by 425 unique students. And that program is still ongoing. So strangely, where we would have started a learning digital center reaching out to maybe 500 students, today we we are able to reach out to 425 unique, and 500 would not have been unique, but we are able to reach out to 425 unique students, and that program will still go on, reaching out to many more students. So this was an interesting way in which there was a certain plan in place saying this is what the impact is going to be. We revisited it, re-looked at it, and said, oh, we are able to reach out to many more students.
Absolutely. I think it worked out perfectly for you guys and for the students whom you reached out to, because
Yes.
that way you just would have reached out to 500 students as you planned. This way you're going to keep going to many and many more, and I hope you guys do, because it's wonderful. So before wrapping it up in some ways, I want to know this, because how do you measure India's current standings in terms of CSR? Like, as of now, how do you think India stands? And I'm talking about in totality. How do you think the government's role is right now? Do you think it needs to be more involved? Do you think our CSR system needs to be more transparent? Do you think our corporates need to do more work? So how do you right now measure India's current CSR standards?
This is my personal view. As
Absolutely.
a CSR practitioner, I think the way I see it, that India has made significant improvements in public-private partnerships. You would not have seen this a decade ago, right? And working with the government, understanding the needs of the government, and saying that, okay, this is where we should be able to put in the funds relevantly. So the need of the hour, the need of the geographical location, the requirement where it is really required. Did we have an aha moment? Not really. Because today you have around 97 to 87% of corporates supporting CSR. But you see a slight variation, because a lot of the funding goes into education and not so much in the other areas. But the beauty of the CSR Act is it encourages people to donate or support wherever it is required, including sports, right? I mean, look at the fact that today you have large business houses like the Jindals or Reliance, for that matter, who support sports. And that is why you're able to see the winnings that we have, not just at the Olympics, but also at the Paralympics.
Absolutely.
And who would have thought of that earlier? Now, that's on the sports side. I talked about where we have major funding on the education side as well. But that funding has also gone through government initiatives such as the Sarva Shikshan Abhiyan, Education for All, right? Or even the right of children to free and compulsory education, the RTE. Uh, there will always be more to be done. But there is a structure and a format in place today when we are talking about public private partnerships, and COVID has created new avenues. um, and this avenue is about saying taking the digitization forward. I mean, it would have been in our priority list, but probably not on the first two or three. Today COVID has made it the first two or three, and that is why you're seeing so much more. The NEP has come in, the national education policy has come in. It's talking about creating STEM mindsets, not just in the educators but also in the parents and the children. It's talking about STEM starting from the uh, young age, from the young students age up to going into the youth. It's not talking about coding being taught at school or whatever, but it's saying create the mindsets to get cognitive thinking coming up in the children, move away from the rote learning that probably our generation underwent, and look at more thinking perspective coming in, and experiential learning that is coming in terms of being able to do things at home. If you ask me, my dream from this thing would be that in the future, just like we had parents sitting and doing playing board games with children, I would look at a scenario where parents would sit with children and say, let's do some STEM experiments at home, which would be a really fun way of actually taking STEM forward. And I think we are at that cusp.
Absolutely.
It's not just about the CSR Act, but it's also about saying all of us coming together as government, as educators, as parents, and even as children. If we develop that, then we are at a cusp that we can see far many more things happening. AI engineers coming in, astronauts coming in. I mean, the only role models that we have is that of a Rakesh Sharma and a Kalpana Chawla. But I think that every village would be able to develop an astronaut or an astrophysicist.
Absolutely, because it's all about making it the new normal. Like the more you, let your children or students or even parents, for that matter, get used to how this thing works, or actually let them know what are the benefits of it. Like for example, STEM education. Then they're gonna understand because they're not exposed to it yet. They do not know
Yes.
what exactly it is. And then, as you correctly said, and I absolutely agree to it, that the partnership with the government that we have been seeing in the last 5 years, if I may, so that has been increasing, is the key factor where it is going to take us. Because even if we have something to give or something to spend on social impact, we need to know where it can be the most essential use of. Like we need to know where exactly it is required, and nobody has better data than the government. Like so, it is very important that we work together. Pratima, this thing has been this interaction has been very insightful for me and the whole team of CSR Life for sure. And before we wrap this up, is there something you want to say to our audiences or everybody who's watching us? Is there some last message you want to give?
I would give a message to the younger students or the people or youth who are out there trying to make a career for themselves. And I'd say that uh, sustainability and CSR is a career choice. Uh, we need individuals like that. We need individuals who can think about working with the government. We need individuals who can think about garnering support and leading civil society, understand how to work with the corporates in helping build public private partnerships, know about the CSR Act, understand how CSR can actually help building not just businesses but also in the communities that we would be working in.
Absolutely, and that is. I hope that this message get across all the audience, especially the youth of our country, because we do need the youth to participate in this for us, so that our future can be better, of course. So thank you so much, Pratima. Thank you, Lenovo, for being part of this, and I'm sure that we are going to see you here again very soon. At least I hope so. That we catch you back here again pretty soon, and we can talk more about the projects and the developments in Lenovo's philanthropic side with you. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Varun. Thank you for having me.